From San Diego, California, this is the Frug Life Podcast, the show that teaches you how to save, invest, and earn money. Here's the host, Mr. Frugal himself, Ricky Hirsch.
Welcome to the Frug Life. Today I wanted to talk about simple living. And what do I mean by this? Let me give you a few examples. I really like this YouTube channel called Townsend's. It's about a guy who cooks and creates things from the 17th and 18th centuries in America. And when he cooks, he is using like an open flame in his home, or an earthen oven, which is an oven made out of earth, or perhaps dried mud would be a better description. The videos just have this charm to them. They remind us of a simpler time, a world without Facebook or social media, a world where people met together face to face and talked and shared a meal. And sometimes I just want to take a break from the modern world, to live in the wilderness, to cook on an open flame and just live in the moment instead of endlessly scrolling on my phone. I spend tons of time online on social media trying to connect with people, trying to find listenership for the show, trying to find people to collaborate with. And I spend a lot of time streaming live like I am right now. And even though I do all these things, sometimes I feel like I'm just screaming into the wind, that nobody can actually hear me. And sometimes I want to break from that. Now you might say, Ricky, why do you do these things if they don't bring you enjoyment? And I think the answer is, in part, I need to do these things, right? Because if I don't promote the show in any way, it's not going to grow. So not having any social media presence, I think, would be a bad idea for the Frug Life. As another tangent, getting back to Townsend's, I actually tried to visit the Townsend shop, which is in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. No offense to, was it Pierce, Indiana, where the shop is? I traveled from San Diego to Chicago by plane, got on an Amtrak, took it to South Bend, Indiana, and then got in a car from there and traveled another like 30 or 45 minutes or so to Pierce, Indiana. After all that traveling, I learned that the shop is only open on weekdays, and I got there on a weekend. So all that traveling was for naught. I saw the Townsend store, I looked at the storefront, through the glass in the front, and I was a little sad. They also have a train museum there, so I figured I'd go see the train museum if I couldn't go to Townsend's, and it seems like that was closed for like some private event. So my trip to Pierce was a bust. Back to my main story, which is escaping from modern society. I sometimes also think about having a cabin in the woods, and I've spoken about this before. And now that I am a homeowner, just not the owner of a home in the woods, hopefully someday. Now that I am a homeowner, though, now that I own one house, I really want to own a second one. Another channel I really like on YouTube is called Bush Radical, where a guy named Dave Whipple and his wife Brooke, you might find that a little funny because Mrs. Frug's name is Brooke, if you didn't know that already. Anyways, the two of them construct cabins, mostly like in Alaska, and live kind of simple lives in a way. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. After all, I'm saying simple living is good. 'Tis a gift to be simple. One of the major themes of Bush Radical, though, is that he stresses throughout the building process of these off-grid cabins that this is something anyone can do. That constructing a simple cabin is doable. And I think there's something to that. In our not-so-distant ancestry, at least my ancestry, my ancestors were farmers, and they probably did build their own cabins and homes. And I think there might be something special about building your own dwelling. Like maybe that we were even meant to do it. As we think about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, for example, and we think about some of our fundamental needs, right? The need for food, water, the need for security, shelter. If you just buy something, I think you don't appreciate it as much as if you make it. And so if you want to meet these needs, as you meet the needs in your life with things that you have created, there might be some kind of inherent benefit to that. I'm just speculating. I have no idea. I'm not a psychologist. I got a 3 on my AP Psych test in high school. So that means I'm qualified, right? The second and only other psychology class I took in school was behavioral statistics, so I'm immensely qualified to speak on this subject. In either case, whether a real benefit or imagined, I sometimes feel like I want to connect with my past, to live simply, to make things with my hands, and to experience a little of what my ancestors experienced. But within these desires lies a problem. My desire to disconnect from the world runs contrary to the way things are obtained in the world. And the way we get things is with money. So how can I obtain things without money? And how can I obtain money if not for working? I know there's some online gurus that will tell you otherwise, that you can have your cake and eat it too. But that isn't where I am in this journey. So far, I will keep working, and perhaps I can take a vacation in the near term. And really, as I think about it, I might go crazy living in a cabin for too long, right? Without the internet, I would probably go a little crazy. I think it's fun to disconnect from the world for a season, but living full-time in the woods probably isn't something that I really want. And often I think that is the case with many of our desires. Some people dream of retiring early, of traveling the world, of moving from place to place as a nomad. And I think, actually, if you tried to live that life, you probably wouldn't like it. That actually having a place where you live that you can go back to, it's really an immense benefit. In watching, or I should say listening, to an episode of Money for the Rest of Us recently, a guest actually made that exact point, that you probably don't actually want to be a nomad like that. You probably just want to take a few more vacations a year. And he also made the point that you probably don't actually want to retire early either. What you actually want to do is be a business owner, because it will provide you many of the benefits that you're looking for in the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. But you don't actually need to stop working in order to achieve the lifestyle that you want. There's steps you could take today to achieve that lifestyle. So as tempting as it is for me from time to time to say that I want to abandon everything and to live in the woods, or to do a, Chris McCandless style adventure in Alaska, I probably don't actually want to do those things. What I probably should do is just incorporate a little bit more of what I want into my life now. All right, let's take a quick break and we will be right back. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. I will have links in the show notes to all the things I referenced. Why don't you have a listen to some of their content and see what you think and get back to me? Are there any topics or ideas covered by Dave Whipple or James Townsend you think I should share here on the podcast? Anyways, thanks for listening to this week's episode. Have a great week. And as always, stay frugal. Before you go, I have one last thing to share with you. A big announcement, which is the 2025 listener survey is now live. You can give your feedback on the show, and one lucky submitter will be selected for a fabulous prize, which is lunch with me, Mr. Frug. Now you might be saying, Mr. Frug, I don't live in San Diego. How is that going to work? And the answer is, I will come to you. I will travel to you, and we will get lunch. Doesn't that sound fun? A chance to talk to me in person. Ask your personal finance questions, or whatever you want. Lunch is on me, so sign up for the 2025 listener survey. Links will be in the show notes. Thanks for listening.